Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Pia Sormunen. I'm Vice President of the CIP. I'm also working in Tampere University as an Associate Professor in Civil Engineering in a Building Services Research Group. And today we have a pleasure to hear the presentation from the Dr. Huey Wen Lim, who is the research fellow at the School of Property, Construction and Project Management from RMIT University, Melbourne, Australia. And she is a member of the research team at Safety and Healthy Innovation Networks, SHINE. With an interdisciplinary background in psychology and engineering, her research focuses on human factors in construction safety, health, and well-being. She, she collaborates with the construction organization across sectors, examining mental health, psychosocial hazards, masculine norms, safety leadership, safety culture, and the laddering safety management system. Previous Mackenzie postdoctoral fellow at the University of Melbourne, she led industry collaborative mental health research. Her work earned the 2023 CIP Keith Hampson Early Career Research and in Industry Award. Please, you may start this CIP President Seminar Workshop. Okay, floor is yours, Huey.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity to share this work. Today I'll be talking about the research journey that began with a simple but important question. That's how can we improve mental health in construction? And this presentation is based on my Mackenzie research project, which examines the mental health across the traditional and prefabricated construction settings. And along the way, this work was recognized through the CIB Keith Hampson ECI Industry Award, for which I'm really grateful. And I'll reflect later on how that award helped support the research and the industry.
Sorry, are you sharing your screen, your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, because we can't see that.
Can you see that?
No.
You can't see any screen now?
No.
Oh, okay. Let me do that again.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, but it's very important that we see your presentation also.
Can you see it now?
Yes, now we see, and if you put a full screen. Yes.
Okay, no worries.
Now, please
this
continue.
Is only the first page. This is only the first page, so that's
yes.
right.
Good.
thanks for noting me.
Yes.
All right.
I'm sorry. Would you mind just going back to the beginning of your slides?
Oh, it was just this one. I knew.
There we are. That's perfect. And then that would be a good for the recording as well, because I can tidy it up. Thanks.
Yes. All right. And before I begin, I would like to briefly introduce myself. I'm currently a research fellow at the School of Property, Construction and Project Management at RMIT University in Melbourne, Australia. My background is somewhat unusual because I started with psychology degree and then I moved into construction management. And that interdisciplinary perspective has shaped much of my research. And rather than viewing mental health solely as an individual or critical issues, I am interested in how construction work itself influences the psychological well-being. So the research I'll be discussing today was undertaken during my Mackenzie Fellowship at the University of Melbourne, where I examined how project characteristics can impact workers' mental well-being in construction. And in 2024, I received the CIB Keith Hampson ECI Industry Award to extend the research to look into the mental health in construction through the lens of industrialized construction and prefabrication. And this work involved extensive collaboration with the industry partners. So I'm now based in RMIT and continue to work closely with industry partners through the SHINE network, where we collaborate with industry partners to improve work health and safety across construction sector. And with my background, the combination of psychology, construction management, and the industry engagement has strongly influenced the work I have been presenting today. So mental health has become one of the most significant challenges facing the construction industry. And construction workers experience high level of psychological distress, burnout, and suicide risk, making it a silent killer in construction industry globally. For example, in Australia, 1 in 4 construction workers has experienced depression or anxiety, and construction workers are 6 times more likely to die by suicide than be killed by an accident at work. It is actually much serious than what we thought you would imagine. And the impact extends beyond individual well-being to safety, productivity, workforce retention, and project performance. And over the past decades, there has been increasing awareness of these issues and growing investment in mental health initiatives. Yet, despite all this progress, many of the underlying conditions that continue to poor mental health remain largely unchanged. And construction work has been recognized with a high level of psychosocial risk. There are high job demand, either it's physically or mentally, the long working hours, low job control, high job insecurity, and low social support. And when we look at mental health program in construction now, many implicitly assume that the problem resides within the individual, that the workers need better coping skill. They need knowledge or support to manage this stressful condition. For example, we can see many of the programs that encourage workers to seek help, or they teach coping skills, or they help to improve their mental health literacy, knowing where do they go and seek help. And also, there were also programs that say they promote resilience. And I ever heard someone that says that we want to hire someone who is resilient. And what does it even mean, resilient? And they are important, but they tend to assume that the stressful working conditions are fixed. The conditions are fixed and that workers must adapt to them. And it's a way to say that we need to fix the workers, not the stressful working condition. And for many years, the industry has focused on helping workers cope with the stressful working environment. My research then asked whether we should actually be redesigning the work environment themselves. And while mental health remains a challenge, construction is simultaneously undergoing significant transformation as well. Across the world, government and industry are investing heavily in the industrialized construction and construction 4.0 approaches. And industrialized construction applies manufacturing principle to construction, including standardization, off-site production, process integration, digitalization, and automation. And in Australia, this transformation is increasingly viewed as part of the solution to housing shortages, labor shortages, productivity challenges, and sustainability goals. And we know a great deal about the technical and operational benefits of industrialized construction. And the research has examined productivity improvement, the quality outcomes, safety performance, and sustainability benefits, and also the project delivery efficiency. However, we know surprisingly little about the implication for mental health and well-being. So what happens to workers when the construction work increasingly move from the site to the factory? If the industrialized construction fundamentally changes the way construction work is performed, then it may change the stresses workers experience, the way they cope, and ultimately their well-being. And that becomes the central focus of this study. To investigate these questions, the research project originally began as part of my Mackenzie project at the University of Melbourne, where I was investigating mental health and well-being in conventional construction settings. And unlike the survey or focus group, ethnographic, I run an ethnographic study that allows observing the people in their natural environment to uncover the unspoken behavior, the cultural nuances, and hidden insights. And it reviewed the how and why behind human actions in real life. And during the ethnographic study, I literally woke up every morning at 5 a.m. and be there like by 6 a.m. Even though I'm not the first one in the site office, basically I'm living the life of the construction person. That's what ethnography is doing. And I immersed myself basically in the work settings for 2 months. And through observation, shadowings, and interviews on construction sites, I became increasingly interested in how the everyday realities of construction work influence workers' experiences of stress and well-being. And at the same time, the construction industry was increasingly embracing the industrialized construction and prefabrication. And this raised an interesting question that if we change the production environment, if we change how the construction is delivered, so do we also change the psychosocial experience of work? And you can see this photo is actually when I was on site doing the ethnographic study. Around this time, I had the opportunity to engage with Chris Ong, the director of Think, who were interested in the broader implication of prefabrication beyond productivity and efficiency. He and his team was incredibly supportive of the research and provided access to their offsite manufacturing facility and created an opportunity to extend this original project from McKinsey project. And with the support from the CIB Keith Hampson ECR Industry Award, I was able to undertake this additional fieldwork in prefabricated construction environment. And this ultimately led to a comparative ethnographic study across both conventional or traditional construction and prefabricated construction settings. So across both on-site and off-site, I'll call it, on-site and off-site construction settings, I spent 4 months in total undertaking observation of work groups on construction site as well as in the factory, shadowing construction and prefab professionals, and conducting interviews with the mates in construction field officer who they show support for this research as well, and also interview the manager, the professionals, and the frontline workers. And the comparative approach allowed us to examine how different construction methods and the production system influence the workers' experience of stresses, coping behaviors, and their well-being. One reason I want to highlight this part of the project is because it reflects the spirit of the Keith Hampson Award. That is the emphasis on industry-engaged research. Looking back, one of the most valuable aspects of the project was that the research question did not emerge entirely from academic. It developed through the conversation with industry about whether changing the way we build might also change the experience of work itself. And the offsite component of the study emerged through the collaboration with the industry partners, and the award recognize and support that direction of the research. And the recognitions reinforce that importance of conducting research that is not only theoretically rigorous, but also relevant to the industry challenges. And the award have helped me to increase the visibility of the project, strengthen the relationship with the industry stakeholders, and also to support the dissemination beyond academia. So this piece of work has also attracted attention from the industry bodies such as the Prefab Australia and also the Prefab Council Australia. Well, come back to the study. So the first major findings that we got was that the conventional and the prefabricated construction generates different patterns of stresses. So unlike what the existing studies, there are some studies on it, but they were more like surveys and all that. So They have been saying that they reduce the stressor, but what we found here is that some of the stresses are reduced, but some new ones emerge. So in construction, on-site construction, the workers frequently experience stresses such as high level of physical demand, long working hours, the lack of social support, the lack of control from uncertainty associated with the weather or the changing site conditions. And in prefabricated environments, some of these stresses were reduced. The control environment and the adoptions of the machineries and technologies and the streamlined processes have reduced these physical demands and the working hours compared to the conventional construction. And having a centralized work location, that's the factory, and also the interconnected work processes and the stable workforce have also allowed to improve social support. However, the new form of the pressure emerged. For example, they may have greater control over the quality, but they have very limited error tolerance. And they say that, in the interview, they would say that if they make a mistake, they repeat it by how many, like total numbers of parts that they make mistake, and it become a disaster. And more, the coordination with the on-site work changes can sometimes be really hard to manage, and that actually increased the level of their stress. And some studies suggest that, as I say, the prefab can reduce stress. Yes, they do for some of the stresses from on-site construction. But the key insight here is that the stresses do not disappear. They have changed, and they need to be also taken into consideration. And the change stresses are not just by changing outdoor to indoor. It is also by how we work. So the second major finding we found was that the change from project-focused approach to a manufacturing process-focused approach can also improve the mental well-being. And in this case, in the same factory, so initially all the modular production within this observed facility was operated in a stick built under a roof approach. What it means is that in this setup, they work like how the on-site construction work. Basically, it's all project focused. So in this setup, they, as you can see on the left side of the picture, where supervisors were assigned to individual projects to oversee the entire life cycle of these projects from the start to finish. And they follow a traditional construction project management paradigm, basically. But a very smart gentleman, Antonio, shout out to Antonio, if he's online, who is now the operation director at Sing. And together with the executive members, they have decided that this is not a manufacturing work. So they took several months to turn the production operations into a manufacturing process-focused approach. And in this setup, what happened is, as you can see on the right side of the picture or the slide, in this setup, the supervisors are assigned to manage a specific process. So you have process A, B, C, D. So each supervisor, now they are called the process team leader. So each of them are assigned to manage a specific process across multiple projects, and rather than one person managing the entire project from start to end throughout all the processes. So that's similar to the manufacturing practices. And what we found with the findings is that that the transition to this process-focused work practices has significantly reduced the work stress among the supervisors by several ways. The first one is that it streamlined the focus and responsibility. Instead of overseeing every process from the start to the finish in the project, the supervisor now only needs to focus on one process and reduce the need to multitasking, which is one of the stresses in the on-site construction approach. And focusing on one process also makes managing labor less burdensome. And instead of being responsible for the entire project, the process-focused approach also redistributes this supervisory responsibility to a collaborative sharing of responsibilities among the supervisors across the various processes. So instead of me, taking this big responsibility from the start to the end of the project, now I only need to focus on one process, and I do it multiple times to different projects. And all these have reduced the job demand and increased the control of their work. And although they also mentioned that, because now that they don't manage one project, they manage multiple projects, but comparatively, they do think that that is actually still less stressful. And the second, it has increased the control over the uncertainty and minimized the defects and delays that often cause stress, because the repetitive tasks have enabled the workers or even the supervisor to hone their skills and get better their work accuracy and better control the quality, and making the work process more predictable. Although they also say that there was a decrease in decision autonomy, where last time they could actually have a control of the whole project, and some that enjoy that, but but now that they only get to focus on one project and they can't actually have a control over the whole process, the whole project. But that's still good. And the third one, it enhanced the collegial support. The supervisor reported that when they were in the project focus roles, they couldn't get much help because everyone was assigned to their own project, and everyone gets so busy and multitasking, that they were so into their own project, and oftentimes they had to work in isolation. And even if they asked for help, nobody would actually be able to help because they are all in their maximum capacity, and they feel pretty lonely in a way. So, but when they change to a process approach to work, the process workflows are interconnected. And when the process workflow from process A to B to C, every process team has a daily KPI to achieve. And if the process A having technical trouble with their production, they're going to affect the process B and process C and their KPI. And so what happened is really interesting, is that in that situation, the process team leader B would actually come around and help the process team leader A to resolve to help them to resolve whatever that is delaying their production. And because if they're not doing that, their own production and their own KPI will be affected as well. So because of the work is one process and can affect the next process, they are more motivated now to seek help and offer help so that they can actually get their work done. And this actually fosters a collaborative and supportive work environment. And and as we can see, in this case, by changing the project to process-focused approach to work, we can see a significant improvement in the supervisor's well-being. And it's important to note that many organizations, they try to transit to prefabrication, but they fail to obtain this full benefit of a prefab because they continue to operate under a stick built under a roof approach, where they move into indoor, but they're just working under the roof, but they were still maintaining the project-based construction that is similar to traditional on-site construction, rather than adopting a manufacturing process-based workflow. So they also inherit the stressor from the on-site construction. Now, the third major findings we found is the change in masculine norms and coping responses. And the existing studies that talks about prefab improve mental well-being, they only focus on stresses, but that's only half of the story. And what they talk about is the change of context, right? So you change from uncertainty from the environment because the weather and all that. Now you're indoor, you're changing that. You don't have that anymore. Or they talking about, oh, now you have fixed schedules. You work a shift in the prefab factory environment. So you change that context. You don't need to work long working hours anymore. But how does these changes in this context that actually influence workers' coping responses, and that's is overlooked. So we found that when stresses change, in this study, we found that when stresses change, coping responses also change. And as an example, we know that masculine norms is one of the major barriers to positive coping for mental health. And we found that prefab changed what is required of workers, where they reduce the physical demands and the regular schedules, remove the pressure from the workers to prove that they are tough enough, and the total availability. And prefab also changed how work is structured, where the process team leader B, for example, would come around to help the process team leader A to resolve the issues, so they can actually make sure that the production line is working efficiently, and they change the working in isolation to working collaboratively. And the process-based collaborative work normalizes help seeking or support seeking, or even asking for help. Before they ask for help, they would actually come over and offer help. So this process have weakened that masculine barriers that normalize that help seeking, and workers become more comfortable seeking for support when they face challenges, whether it's asking for technical help or discussing about stress with their peers or their colleagues, and that basically weakened that masculine barriers. And when workers do seek support, having the management and the front line within the same facilities give them the centralized support system to help workers gaining timely assistance. Whereas on-site construction projects would be more distance from their management office. And when workers experience the positive outcome from from seeking the support, and it further weakens the masculine norms and make it easier for the next person to ask for the support when needed. And this forms a self-reinforcing cycle that continually reward the positive coping responses. And this explains why prefab environments show a markedly better mental health outcomes in our research. And this suggests that coping should not be understood solely as an individual process, but also as an organization and a contextual one. And I would like to conclude with 3 reflections from this research. Now, the first is the way construction work is performed matters for mental well-being. What our findings suggest is that the changing production system from on-site to off-site, from traditional construction to prefabrication manufacturing, does begin to reshape mental health outcome. And throughout the study, we saw that the workers' experience of stress and coping were not simply individual issues. They are shaped by the production system, the work practices, and also the organizational environments in which people work. And this suggests that mental health is not only something we manage through individual interventions, it is also influenced by how construction processes, the production system are designed, and how the construction work is designed and performed. And second, the prefabricated construction present an opportunity to think differently about mental health. Traditionally, our response has often been reactive. We help workers to cope with the stressful environments after those environments already exist. But if different ways of work create the different psychosocial experiences, then selecting and designing construction methods can itself become a proactive well-being intervention. In other words, the transition towards construction 4.0 and increasingly now the discussion around construction 5.0 is not only a technological decision, but it is also a human-centered decision. And finally, we need to prepare the workforce for future. The construction industry is changing rapidly throughout industrialization, the digitalization, and the new production systems. And much of the discussion focus on productivity, quality, and sustainability. These are all important, but alongside these goals, we also need to understand the emerging psychosocial risk and opportunities associated with these new ways of working. And if we want a sustainable construction industry, we need to build not only better buildings, but rethinking the kind of work environment we create and the norms and behavior we reinforce, and ultimately the kind of workforce we sustain. Finally, I would like to thank our industry partner, Singh, who was of great support and commitment to advancing knowledge and industry practice. Also, I'm grateful for the support from CIB and the Mackenzie project funded by the University of Melbourne. And these are the research and industry reports that produced from this part of the research. Anyone interested, you can have a look online. And thank you.
Okay, thank you. This very interesting and very valuable work what you have done, because I think it's very important to take care of mental health in construction sector. Okay, we have time for a couple of questions. So is there somebody who wants to present questions for Huey? At least I have a couple of those. Maybe I can start. Let's do so.
Yeah.
It was really interesting that you said that well-being improved from a project to process-focused approach. Could you give me an example what you mean with a process-focused approach? Is it really off-site pre-construction? An example of the process-focused approach?
As an example, that shows on the productions, the way we work, basically.
Yeah.
You know, the project management paradigm that asks us to really look into project from the start to the end. That itself have this kind of structure the way we work, and that is very different from how the manufacturing working. So
Yes.
by just looking at that, I mean, we compare that because within the same facilities and they were doing the same work, that change by itself is already making a huge difference for what they need to do with their work design. Also, that comes along with the stresses they were doing. So that was really what it is about the design of the work, because of the structure of how the work is structured.
Yeah, that's right. So the next question is because this is a management issue quite a lot. How to how you design your process flows and so on. Are there enough skills in project management to turn this from the project-focused approach to the process-focused approach? What is your opinion for that?
how, sorry, your question is about
I
what?
mean that the management of the construction project, they need to change way of working. Also, the management of the not just the workers. And is that a big
Yes.
challenge also for the all the
Yeah.
workers, not also managers, and how to lead this
Yeah.
project? What do you think?
Yeah. It's probably it is a challenge because construction is so into this project-based
Yes,
work.
that's right.
Yeah, it's really hard, and I wouldn't say I'm challenging that
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
a
good.
total different way. It's a total different way of working, and
Yeah,
what I'm showing here is more like, because prefab has allowed that to change.
yeah, that's
So, and that is that, and the research have shown that. So in a way, we're saying that is it possible if we actually, if more projects now that do more prefab, can we actually increase that
yeah,
way of doing work that's more
yeah,
process focused?
yes,
Yes. So,
yeah,
but of course, we can't do all process focus the entire project. You see, most of the
yeah,
time it's like partly, it's not the entire project. So
yeah,
it's still a challenge. You can't really eliminate the project part of it. Yeah, but it's I would say this is a starting point where we
mm,
see how now that especially in Australia now we talk about housing crisis, and the
yeah,
government is pushing and encouraging for a prefab, and that's probably a good thing to see if that's the benefit that comes along with that, and that kind of encourage maybe to encourage the industry to think about um, prefab,
yeah,
more prefab. Um,
yes, yes, you're right. Yes, this is very interesting result of your study. Yeah.
mm.
Okay, so do you have an advance online? Do you have a questions for Huey? Uh, so Mooks, do you want to ask something?
Basically, I don't have a question. It's quite
Yeah.
interesting. This I have never heard of a research which is made on the mental health.
Mm,
As construction is highly demanding, I fully understand the stress levels that are being triggered at every level. So that's quite interesting. I know that I worked for about 17 years in construction industry, and I know some of my friends was seriously encountered a health problem. Basically, it
mm,
was in relation to the serious uh, diabetics and others that requires the huge that's resulted due to the huge stress in relation to administering big projects. So the study clearly shows that we need to study more on the health aspect as well. Undermining this will consequentially impact the ultimate objective of delivering a project while maintaining the workforce to serve for long. So I really appreciate the presentation. I like it.
yes,
Well, thank you
I
so
agree.
much.
I agree.
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
Mm,
Ira. Yes, please.
Um, thank you, Wayne. That was really interesting. I feel as if we've been a part of your research really, because we've obviously been aware of it from you when you received the Hampson Award and so forth. One thing we talk about a lot at CIB is about, collaboration between research and industry.
yeah.
And, you've obviously shown that that's what you've done. I'm quite interested though, when you said that you basically embedded yourself alongside these workers who possibly have
Mm,
no experience of academia and
yeah.
research. How did that go? Were they suspicious of you, of what you were trying?
Oh.
to achieve? How did you break down those barriers? And because it's a big part of it is communication, isn't it? That
Yes.
explaining what it is you're trying to do to people who
Yeah.
quite possibly have no knowledge of it, no understanding,
Yeah.
and potentially no interest. How did
Yeah.
you manage all of that?
So that comes to the research method. So the ethnographic is designed in a way that you need to immerse yourself to really experience that and understanding what's going on around that. And the best part about this is that, and it's really important to actually stay in a place for long enough that they forget about that.
You get to
So
know you. Yeah.
that's why I spent 2 months in each place. And that actually, because they could pretend at the first week, second week, but then they couldn't do
Yes.
that for 2 months. Yes. So at the beginning, one funny story is that the first day when I got to the on-site construction, and I went into the office. So because they set up this, and they say that okay, you can come on which day, and then we can start the work. But most of the people in the site office, or even in the construction site, they don't know who I am. But the moment when they saw me on that day in the morning, they thought that I was from WorkSafe, which is the regulator. They thought I'm coming to do an inspection, and they were so scared.
Okay.
They thought it's a spot check or something. And I didn't know that until later. They told me that joke, and because they, who is this person? And because when the first day I got there, and then I was like, okay, I know a few people, and then I grabbed them to another room to do interviews, and they thought I was investigating on something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's quite normal for the that they feel like, who are you, and then are you watching us and all that, and that's normal for the research method. But as I stay long enough, they kind of forget about that. Basically, the immersion is to become the background.
Yeah.
Every day I work like them, I eat with them, I wake up, the work timing is the same time, and they basically forgot about me, and they were too busy with work. They don't have the time to think about me. So that was good for me, and that was really an experience, because I do actually study, doing a lot of research on this, but the experience is another level. It's a different understanding. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do that, such a long period of research. So I was quite fortunate to do that. Yeah.
Very good. Very interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If there's no other questions, Pia, may I ask another one?
Yes, please. Yes.
And when this is again coming back to the CIB Keith Hampson Award, can I ask you to sort of how would you, or why would you encourage other young researchers to to participate, or to submit possible research to the Hampson Award? What are the benefits that you have received from them that you would advocate for others as well?
I think the major one is the dissemination of the output and increase that visibility. That's the greatest one, because CIB is a big name, and being really, I'm really fortunate and grateful for that, being on the CIB, having these names, and it's a recognition of what I do is really, really being recognized as important work. So, it's not hard to apply, really. To get that benefit is really increasing that visibility. People know what I'm doing, and people will be really interested. What is this award about, and how is this research really important and being awarded as an important work, right? So I think that that's the major, most significant, what do you call this, factors that why you should actually apply for this award.
Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Oh yeah, and I must say that not only that I'm very proud of getting this award, but I think the industry partners, the Think, because when I apply this, we have to submit a support letter from the industry partners, and they were like, "Oh, go ahead." Chris was really supportive. And, yes, go ahead for that. And when I got that award, everyone was cheering. They were so happy because they know they were doing something really good and they were contributing that. So I think that actually built that connection. I mean, even that they feel like they were together with me doing this together, and we get an award. And I think that's really important for this engagement with the industry.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. I have a final question. Are you continuing your studies and research in this area?
Yeah. Am I continuing studying in this area?
Yes.
So as I mentioned it before the presentation, now this is prefabrication, and it is only a starting point, because what we see now is the construction industry is changing, and we now have we have AI, we have all sorts of different things, automation, robotic, and all these are changing the way we work, really. So I'm only showing an example of what happened in prefab, but as we evolve in this construction industry, either it's construction 4.0, 5.0, or maybe more, the way we work is keep changing, and there will be different, experience of stresses, or they may change the way we cope with stress, and how do we do that. So continually what I'm doing next is really to look into how is that continue to affect what people experience at work, and the way to change in the construction industry.
Okay, very good. I'm really happy to hear that you continue in this subject because it's very important to taking care of mental health and well-being of
Yes.
construction sector. Okay,
Yes.
thank you very much. And this was this time a CIP President's Area workshop. Thank you very much, and we will come back. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.